Alright people, we've got an interesting video today. It's titled, "This TikTok wife just destroyed her husband's reputation." And as soon as I seen the title, I was very interested and I clicked on it. So guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and let's get into it.
Nothing good, nothing at all good can ever come from deliberately trying to make your husband feel disrespected and belittled. Today for our daily cancellation, we have another entry in the rapidly expanding genre of videos where wives complain about their husbands. And this genre is extremely popular. Of course, it's come up several times on this show. And yet the reverse genre, husbands complaining about their wives, basically does not exist. I mean, if a husband complains about his wife publicly, it will almost always be in a funny, lighthearted way where he makes himself the butt of the joke ultimately. But the all-female genre of spousal sessions is never meant to be funny, and the women certainly don't make themselves the butt of the joke. These videos are, in almost every case, bitter, petty, patronizing, and deeply insulting to the husbands. And this latest entry is no different. So here's a woman, Jenny Maharaj is her name, who decided to tearfully scold her husband in front of the world, in front of what turned out to actually be an incredibly large audience. This video has been viewed 2 million times on TikTok and another 30 million times on X. And as always, the comments are mostly full of women cheering her on and dogpiling her husband. There's wide agreement in the feminist peanut gallery that Jenny's husband is a bad person, a bad husband, a bad man, and she has no recourse but to divorce him. And this is exactly the kind of feedback that Jenny was looking for, obviously. There's no other reason to parade your spouse's shortcomings in front of the world. So
you always realize that the advice is always like is always the extreme. Like, why is the advice always just divorce him? Like, it's not one of the biggest decisions someone can make in their life. It's just, yeah, just divorce him. Yeah, if your friend's giving you that advice, I mean, look, divorce should only be left for like serious stuff, which we don't know the video yet, guys. So, but I'm just guessing based off similar videos I've seen of these. I'm just guessing it's not as serious as probably she thinks it is. But I'm not gonna be biased though. But I'm just saying.
So here's Jenny's tragic tale of her husband being slightly dismissive once during dinner. Listen.
My husband decided to be spontaneous and take me to the movies last night. And when we went to dinner afterwards, I was talking about how much I really loved the movie. It was so good. I was so excited to talk about it. And he looks at me dead in my face and says, "It was just a movie." And I immediately stopped talking. So the more I sat there and thought about it, I start crying. It gets really uncomfortable. And he tries to like break the silence by continuing to talk. And I finally looked at him and I said, "That really hurt my feelings." And he responded, "It was just a movie." I said, "I was really excited to talk about it. You took me to see this movie on a whim. I've never heard of it, didn't look it up beforehand, and I really loved it. You picked a great movie." And I was so excited. And now I don't want to talk at all. Because why would I want to talk after that? And he immediately stops. He's like, "You're right, I'm sorry." And then he grabs my hands. He's like, "I'm not even being sarcastic. You're right, I'm sorry. I love when you get excited. It's just annoying sometimes." I recognize that he is trying and he is learning how to communicate with me. It's not an overnight process, but it is very painful. He's still new to his healing journey, so I just have to keep remembering that.
Of all the red flags that have ever been flown, there is perhaps none more ominous or more glaring than a woman who uses the phrase healing journey. And this is exactly the kind of therapeutic jargon that you so often hear from the worst kinds of people. It's always the worst, most selfish, most oblivious, least self-aware people who speak in a way that make it obvious that they've spent many years in talk therapy, which should tell you all you need to know about talk therapy, but that's a topic for another time. For now, you should know that as this video went super viral and thousands upon thousands of women applauded her and offered absolutely vicious indictments of her husband, Jenny kept posting videos about it. Because once a woman like this realizes that she can get attention and validation on the internet by publicly spitting in her husband's face, she won't stop. It's a drug. And so in a follow-up video, Jenny informs us that her husband is self-loathing and not as emotionally mature as she is. And if she has to divorce him, she will, because she can make it without him.
Not as emotionally mature. You start crying because your husband said it's just a movie, but you're emotionally mature. Okay. I'm not going to talk too much because the video's just started, but yeah. Okay.
Watch.
You are correct. correct. There is hatred here, but it's not for me. It's for himself. He hates my joy and excitement because he has nothing to feel joyful or excited about. And that's exactly what I said to him after he said it was sometimes annoying. The comments were not surprising. I actually almost didn't read them because I knew exactly how they were going to go. I started my healing journey in August of 2022. In the first year of my healing journey, I crashed out at least 2 to 3 times a month. And he was there to take the beating. Every single time. When you start healing and reconnecting with your higher self, your brain thinks it's in danger and it starts to project and deflect to whoever is closest to you. In my case, it was usually my husband, and now in his case, it is me. If I didn't feel like he was trying, I would not be here. I am secure in myself enough to know that I can make it on my own if I have to.
I know I said it's a topic for another time, but this, I cannot stress enough what a disaster therapy and the whole therapeutic industry. And I don't know if this woman has been to therapy. I assume she probably has. If she hasn't physically been, then I guarantee she's read all kinds of self-help books and watched videos and that sort of thing. It's all part of the same scam. And it's just been a disaster. The therapeutic industry has been a disaster for the human race and for women in particular. Because let me tell you something, the appropriate response, if you know someone personally who has this complaint about, oh, I wanted to talk about a movie, he didn't want to talk about it. It's like, okay, get over it. Yeah, he was a little rude, a little dismissive. So tell him that and move on with your dinner. You should be over it by the time the appetizers get there. Okay, it's not a crisis. We don't have to sit around dissecting it. We really don't. It's not about, let's look at the deeper significance of this. No, it's just a moment. He's annoyed by something, maybe. Maybe he's annoyed because they didn't have the food he wanted on the entree. Whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. Get over it is the answer, lady. Get over yourself and get over it and move on. Stop being a child. You're being a child is what you're being.
Yeah, and another thing as well, we literally didn't have no context about what was going on. We didn't know if he was in a bad mood. We didn't know anything around what was going on. She just said he dismissed her wanting to talk about a movie, which again, I was about to say what Matt Walsh just said. It's rude, don't get me wrong. Like, I can, when I watch a show, I want to talk about it as well. It's especially when it's a really good show. You're like, oh, I want to talk about it. I want to discuss it. What did you think about this character? Sure. Right. Should have came on here. I mean, should have gone on TikTok and said, oh, it's rude. What he did, I guess, like, I felt a bit annoyed. Sure. I just would have gone, okay, fair enough. But making you crying over it and then complain about his emotional intelligence is insane. It's not a thing to cry over. It's not that deep. Really not that deep. And then some women telling you to divorce him over it. I know she didn't say divorce, but I mean, no, well, she did. Well, she kind of implied that because she said, I'll be fine on my own, where it's like, over a movie? Because you didn't want to talk about a movie, now you'll be fine on your own. That's insane. But I can see why this video's gone so popular because, wow. And again, imagine if this was the other way around. Imagine if a man said this. First of all, a man couldn't say this because other men would just make fun of you. That's what we would. That would be our. That's the difference between men and women. Like, if a man did this, we'd be like, shut up, bro. You sound like a pussy. You sound like an idiot. What do you mean? Do you want to talk about a movie with you? So you started crying, which, yeah, I couldn't even imagine reacting like that. But yeah. So, you're overacting, lady, is basically what I'm saying.
Crying because he didn't want to talk about a movie. What the hell is wrong with you, you child? So that is actually the appropriate response. It's the healthiest response. It's what people like this need to hear. They will never hear it from a therapist. They will never hear it from a therapist. Instead, they'll say, let's sit and talk. Let's do 10 sessions about this. Anyway, another detail that you should know about this truly awful woman is that she has apparently 4 children. And 2 of them are teenagers or young adults, which means that her children are fully aware that her mother is disparaging their father on the internet. They can read, and certainly have read, all of the comments describing in detail why their father is an egotistical monster unworthy of love. And all of these comments are foreseeable. Indeed, Jenny says that she knew it would go that way. And yet she posted the video anyway. And this is why I must desperately urge the women of America, and I know you don't, I know not all women do this, but if you're one of these women, I am urging you to stop complaining about your husbands on social media or in any other public forum. It is not just inappropriate. It is not just a case of oversharing, though it is both of those things. More than that, it is actually despicable. You are a despicable person if you take the flaws and faults of someone close to you and parade them around in public. You are a disgusting, narcissistic bully if you would offer up someone you love to the pitchfork mob as a way to win an argument. It is evil. It is vile. There are not words strong enough to convey how much I loathe this kind of thing. I mean, think about it this way. It would be, and we would all agree with this actually, it would be utterly contemptible to treat a friend or acquaintance this way. You would be a heinous jerk if you publicly castigated a friend who you only text twice a year. I would think, and everyone would think, that you were an abhorrent, despicable, disloyal snake if you aired your dirty laundry about a friendly acquaintance or a distant cousin who you only see at weddings and funerals. But like, to do this to your spouse, the person you've pledged your undying loyalty to, the person you know and should love more deeply and intimately than anybody else on earth, that's downright monstrous. And yet the attitude a lot of people have is that doing it to your spouse is the only appropriate time. Yes, everyone would agree that doing that to a friend, a cousin, is like, why would you ever do that? You're a terrible person. And yet a lot of those same people think that it's totally fine to do that to your spouse. You have it exactly backwards. Well, really, you shouldn't be doing it to anybody. But to do it to your spouse is the worst of all those, hypotheticals. And needless to say, you are automatically the bad guy the moment you take your squabble to social media. That's why we're not going to dissect or discuss at all the actual story that Jenny shared. That doesn't matter. Again, the only answer to that is get the hell over it, you child. Stop whining and crying about it. Debt doesn't just show up women's help home into no breathing. 10 day you mason financing or ordersofmagnancy.net/Walsh. But what you have done, Jenny, is orders of magnitude more despicable than what your husband did to provoke your behavior. In this case, he made a thoughtless, slightly dismissive remark. You, on the other hand, made the calculated, premeditated decision to disrespect and belittle him in front of the entire world. You are the bad guy here.
Yeah, not only did you talk about the movie, you said he's on his healing journey and you would be fine on your own. Who says that over a movie? You'd be fine on your own. You insinuate you're going to leave him. Like, I know I've said that before, but come on. Go on your own in this economy and say, well, I mean, I don't know how the economy is in America per se, but I know prices have gone up very much everywhere. So, yeah, go see how that works before kids. About you'll be fine. Go see how it works then. You're gonna break up a whole family because he don't want to discuss a movie. Just put that into perspective. You really look at it. She wants to break. Well, I know she didn't say that, but she's kind of basically insinuated that, right? That she would potentially break up a whole family over a movie. Yeah, female logic right there. Female logic.
Is no contest. You have also unintentionally provided some mitigating context to the dismissive remark from your husband. Because now we know what kind of wife you are. Now we know how you treat your husband. If you will disrespect him like this in public, we can only imagine how vicious and horrible you are to him in private. In fact, you admitted that too. You said you crashed out multiple times a month, but it was okay because you were on your healing journey, whatever the hell that means. So you're admitting that you're awful to him in private also, which we know because you're awful to him in public. So, I don't know. Maybe that's why he was a bit short-tempered at dinner. Maybe you've worn him down through years of behaving like a raging narcissist. Maybe your lack of respect for him as a man has made him care a little less about respecting your opinion about movies or about anything else.
And you ever realize with these videos that women post, right, they always tell you why the man probably reacted like that within the video without realizing it. You know, I didn't hear the crash out part. That must have slipped up. Like the crash out part. You saying you would leave him, basically you're fine on your own. They basically tell you why he was probably in a bad mood or is probably annoyed with you without realizing it. So, I don't know, hey. Hopefully the guy's okay. That's why I want to know if he's okay. Forget her. I want to know if the guy's okay. So we should all send messages to him if we can find his social media or anything, which he probably isn't on, hopefully, because if he's seeing all this, it'll be insane. But he probably has seen it. But you know what I mean. If he's reading the comments and stuff, but let's check if he's okay. I think he's the real victim here. It seems like, and we should just start discussing that. But that won't go viral. Men being a victim of anything won't go viral.
How many times have you done this kind of thing? I mean, we can assume that this TikTok video is not the first time that you've advertised your husband's shortcomings to an audience. If you would do this on social media, we can assume that you've already complained about him many times over the years, to your family, to his family, to your friends and his friends, random dinner guests, neighbors, acquaintances, and so on. There is a certain kind of wife who does this as a matter of habit. She cuts her husband down everywhere to anyone who will listen constantly. All of the evidence suggests that you are just that kind of wife. So here's what women like Jenny need to understand. Your husband needs respect. I'm not saying that he wants it or that he would prefer it. I didn't say that it would be nice if he had it. I said he needs it. A man needs respect. He needs his honor as a man. Men who feel like they have lost the respect of their loved ones and their peers and the outside world will be at a risk of plunging into a deep and catastrophic despair. There are a lot of very strong men out there who can deal with almost anything. Deal with almost any physical hardship, any emotional hardship. But the one thing that could be crippling is a loss of respect. Because a man who feels that he has lost his honor will often lose his will to live. And if you think that's dramatic, I mean, there's a reason why many ancient societies all across the world have featured some form of ritualistic suicide as a remedy for lost honor. There's a reason why the phrase death before dishonor came into being. Honor, respect, reputation, men through all of history have died to obtain these things and died because they lost them. So as the wife, you have a unique ability to either make your husband feel deeply respected or deeply disrespected. If you choose the latter, then you are choosing to throw a grenade into the middle of your marriage. You are choosing to pull your husband down and the marriage along with him. That's the choice you make when you deliberately dishonor and disrespect him, when you intentionally make him the object of scorn and ridicule, when you emasculate and belittle him. Now, I will no doubt hear the response that, well, a husband should only be respected by his wife if he earns it. But as I've said in the past,
if he earns it. I mean, if you're marrying the guy, you think you respect him. Yeah, but we're gonna stop there. We're gonna watch the whole video. But yeah, you think, I've heard that as well. If you're marrying a guy, you think you would respect him. I don't know. You say you want to stay with him for the rest of your life. You think you respect the guy you want to spend the rest of your life with, right? Let's read one comment here. It says, as a husband and a father to 3, soon to be 4 adult daughters, I can confidently tell you that social media is one of the worst things to happen to women. And that's 5.5k likes in the comments. And do you know what it is? It's not even just social media. Even off social media, when you see like they might go talk to their friends and be like, oh, my man's this and that, and then after that, that's how most relationships end. The internet responding like that is just basically female friends as well, just giving horrible advice. But guys, let me know what you think about this. Again, this is another case of like a man being disrespected and it being fine. But if this is the other way around, a man made a video like this, the internet's not taking it. I mean, you know what? It just goes one of two ways, because you'll get the red pill guys where it just goes too far, right? It goes too far. These are the equivalent of like red pill guys, the women that just give horrible advice, and it's just all, just don't listen to it, guys. I know it's hard to tell, but if you're getting horrible advice, normally you can tell. Just look at the person who's giving you the advice and look how their life's going. And I think that's the best way to judge it, because a lot of female friends, their friends will have the worst relationships and they'll take advice from them. The worst relationships. But yeah, guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video. I'm out. Peace. Tell me what you think about the situation in the comments below.